essential skills for us as software engineers or developers. So the 7 Dev community is a community of developers on the 7 Advanced Academy. We are located in Douala. We have several events that run throughout the year, and we have a community. We are building a strong community over here. So we have members that span from every point, every place in the world. We have people joining us from Nigeria, other African countries. We even have people joining from the US. Yeah. So it's a little community that's actually growing up, and we are hoping to build a stronger and more resilient community. Once in a while, we organize these programs just to empower us, developers, and to encourage collaboration between us as well. So, without further ado, I'm gonna say you're welcome if you're here, and I hope that you make a very good use of the time we have here. And I think this skill is one which will empower you a lot. I remember the first time I had a remote opportunity for a job. So the first question I was asked was, "Do I do I know how to use Git?" And I was like, "Yeah, I know how to use Git. Who does not know how to use Git?" But the simple truth is, a lot of people don't know how to use that. So this session is just to empower us. I know some of us are already acquainted with Git, but this will be an opportunity to share along with others as well. Joram, you're welcome. Please, could you stop sharing your screen? All right, great. So, Mr. Talhatu will be taking us for today's session. Then tomorrow we are going to have another session. I hope that in one way or another you learn. Then please, you can drop your contributions, or if you have questions, you can just drop them in the chat. Yeah, yeah, he's going to answer them when he has at the end of his presentation. I think that should be better. So also here we have Mambo Joy. She's the country director for Premier Dev. Yeah, we're glad to have her around. She's always around. So thank you very much, Joy, for joining today. And I know you're going to have positive contributions for our program today. All right. Yeah, yeah. You have the floor.
Hello, good evening to everyone. I hope everyone is having a nice day. Please, if you guys are getting me, can indicate on the chat box. Okay, so I hope everyone is getting me. You guys see my screen?
Yeah, I can see your screen.
Okay, so good evening to everyone and welcome to Git Workshop organized by 7 Dev Community. So my name is Alhatu Yaya. I'm a full stack web developer, and I know a lot of you guys already know me. So today we are going to be doing an introduction into we are going to be focused mainly on the introduction, like what it is and how to use it. I think tomorrow my prince is going to take over you guys on other practical sessions on more issues on how to use it. So let's get started. Actually, it's going to be a very short introduction, not nothing that much, not very short. There's this common quote I always like reading online. You can never understand everything, but you should push yourself to understand the system. I think that's just IT. That's just IT properly summarized, the tech industry, right? You cannot understand everything. You cannot understand everything in the industry, but you can push yourself to understand how the system works, which is very important. Please, if you guys are not getting me, you should indicate on the chat box. That's the only way I'm going to know.
Yeah, you can get yeah, yeah, you can go ahead, of course.
Okay. So first, we are going to be discussing what is. I'm going to go through the slides and we are going to do some brief demonstration when we arrive at the practical part. So first, we are going to be discussing what is Git. Like, what is Git? Basically, Git is an open source distributed version control system. I think that's a lot of words to define Git, right? Distributed open source version control system. For somebody who has never heard anything of this, is going to be kind of confused. But let me break it down. When we say Git is an open source, we means basically is open to the public. It's free. It's free. Anybody can get this source, access to this code base, can modify, redistribute, do whatever he wants to do with it, or even contribute to update it to more features and to the benefit of others. And we say it's a distributed version control system. Actually, what's a control system? Control system means that something you store where you can store something and you have full control over it. Like basically, like Git is a content tracker, like where you keep something and you can also have track of what you kept there easily. And when we say version control system, it means that you can be, for example, in real life scenario, you may be working on a project and you have a lot of developers on that project, and the development procedure is kind of parallel. It means some another developer is not waiting for you to do this before he does this. So the only way for you guys to keep in track of the movement on the work, on how far he has gone, every other developer's update is to use something we call version control system, which Git is a perfect example of a version control system. So that's basically what Git is in layman terms and all. And when and there's also what we call distributed version control system, right? So you may be asking yourself, we are talking about Git and we say it's open source, it's a version control system. But how come other developers can contribute to this? How come other developers can see our work? That's where it comes in the rule of distributed version control system. Actually, Git is distributed because it has a remote server. It has a remote server where all what you are doing, you can push to that remote server, or you can store it in your local server in case you are working alone on your local machine. And that's fine. You can work on a local server. But if you are working with other people, the only way those people can have access to your own part of the work, you must have a repository somewhere where it's the remote server of your work that you can push all those things there. Then again, people may be asking, why do we need a version control system like Git? Why is it even needed? Why is it even needed? Why would you even want to learn? You know how to code, you're a good programmer, but why do you want to learn about Git? Why do you want to learn version control systems? Actually, in real life project, like I said earlier, in real life project, we have you can say in SaaS products, a lot of big softwares. Yeah, you can be building your website and you're alone on it, but once you join a team or you're working on big project or you're working or even contributing to open source, yes, that's when you have to work with multiple developers and the work can be in parallel. When I say in parallel, it means that nobody's waiting for you to do this. Once you have your task assigned to you, you just get to work and you have to push, and everybody needs to know that no, these are changes made to the work, this and that. That's why it is really important. It's really important. And it also helps you, like, you don't even know where you are. But Git keeps track of every version of your work. It keeps track of every.
I'm having a problem with the connection. Please try again.
everything on the slide. Then after I do a quick demo, or I should do a quick demo while explaining the slide. You guys can give suggestion on the chat box. Okay, I'm having a lot of okay. Okay, people are saying that I should explain before I'm going to the practical mode. Okay, I'm going to explain, right? I'm going to explain. Let me just how we can do a 5 minute or 10 minutes demo practical on the slide. So the first thing you need to do is you need to install Git on your laptop. It depends on the operating system you are going to use. On the chat book, you can install directly from the official Git documentation. It shows you on how to install on all the operating systems. I think those people who are using Windows, it's a bit much easier for you to install Git because it comes as a package software .el.exe. Yes, I think that's it.
Hello, guys. Sorry we are missing Yaya here for a minute, but he'll be joining us very soon. So let's just be patient a little bit. Sorry about the inconveniences. That should be due to network. And thank you all for being here. Again, I would like to plead that if you had maybe a classmate at 7 or someone you think is interested in this session, please just forward the link to them so that they can quickly join up before we go too far. Thank you very much. Okay, I don't know if Prince Apple Prince is there. While waiting for Yaya to quickly join us, I don't know if you can just share with us what working with Git looks like for you as a software developer while Yaya is quickly joining up. Hello, Prince, are you there? Yeah, Prince. Seems your mic is not connected as well. Joy, what about you?
Okay, I really have something to say right now. I really don't know how to structure your work or your efforts. I would like to communicate like really precise, concise, and to see maybe something precise. Like Yaya was saying, I think Yaya ended when he was talking about installation of computer. Well, as I said, it's able to just like simply downloading the package, but with someone using Mac, well, you're going to use the command line terminal to install Git on your terminal. And when you're done installing it, you set it up using your email, username, or password of your maybe GitLab or GitHub. So I believe the panel should go ahead with their lessons, what they're teaching, and let's just grab what we have to grab. And any question anyone has, they should keep it and share it at the end of the session. And they'll definitely be responses to all of that. But based on the operating system you're using, you're going to have a particular way or medium of installing it on your machine. It will be easier with Windows, as I was saying, and it will be much more easier for me with the Linux system. So over to the AI feedback.
Thank you very much, Joy. Yaya, are you there? Hello, Yaya. We can't get you. Are you there? All right, great. I think we can hear you. Oh, that was Prince. Yeah. I think you're muted.
Okay, can you guys hear me now?
Yeah, perfect. All right, welcome back.
Okay, I'm really sorry for what happened. We had some network failures here and we need to step in. So, as I was saying, so once you have the Git install on your computer, depending on the operating system you are using, I think everybody is already acquainted on how to use the command line prompt or any command line interface of your choice. All you have to do is to check whether you have the Git install on your computer, and you can check that by using your terminal. I think on your terminal you just have to type the git slash dash dash version and you click. If you look right here in my terminal, you're going to see I have Git installed on my Windows. I have Git version 2.33 installed on my Windows. So I think that's basically the command you can use to check on every operating system. Also, there's a link I'm going to share on the chat where you can install this Git on different operating systems. I think guys who are using MacBook, yours is a bit much easier because once you have all the command line tools installed on Mac, it comes with Git pre-installed for you. All you have to do is type the command. And if you can't find it, just go to the documentation based on your operating system. You're going to see on how to install it. It's very easy. So we are going to proceed from there. I think once you have this computer, the next thing you have to do is right now you have Git installed on your computer, but this Git is installed on your computer. It's not linked to it's not linked to anything. It's just like you install a new software on your computer and you're figuring out how to use this software. So now you need to create a folder. You can create a folder on your computer and you call it Git intro demo, Git intro demo. So I think there's a guy who said I should extend this slide after we are going to do practical. So I'm going to do exactly that. I don't think switching from the slide to the computer is going to cost us a lot of time. So I'm just going to explain the slide briefly, and after I'm going to do a practical demo of what the slide is about. So after you create, maybe now we want to create a local repository. I think all these times I'm going to share a cheat sheet with you guys. For those guys who are not really acquainted with these terms, I'm going to share a PDF with you guys. All these terminologies are there. What is a repository? All the words I'm going to be using here. Even though I'm going to explain some as we go. So you create a folder on your computer. You may name it whatever you want. But on this workshop, we are going to be calling it Git intro demo. And on this Git intro demo, we are going to initialize. We are going to initialize Git init. So you use the command Git init. Git init is actually a command that add Git repository to a project. Maybe you have a folder in your computer. The fact that you create a folder and you call it Git intro demo does not make it a Git repository. For it to actually become a Git repository, you need to do Git init. It means you are initializing Git. You are telling Git that this folder initialize Git. And what this Git does is that once you say Git init, there are some kinds of hidden files. There are some hidden files that is going to add to those folders. You cannot see it, but there's a way to see it. I'm sure if I have much time, I'm going to show you how to see those files. There are some hidden files going to initialize to this folder. I think you cannot see it like that, but there's a way to see it. So after you initialize this command, now we are going to add a document to our folder. Our folder is empty. So we are going to create a file called demo.txt, or you can call it whatever you want. Right now, we just want to put some content into the folder, so we just call demo.txt. So actually, we just want to do plain text since our main focus on this workshop is on Git and not on any specific programming language. So we are going to focus on Git. So we are not going to be saying that no, we are going to put something into this folder. So we are just going to add a text file into the folder, and maybe we write anything inside. You can even write a name. So after doing this, there's another thing called staging and committing. Actually, the first thing you have done is that you have created a local repository in your computer. Because I'm insisting on local repository because this repository nobody has access to this repository. It means you need to be comfortable using Git on your own, on your local machine by using this local repository before you can actually collaborate with other people who are comfortable using Git. That's what we talk about now, a remote repository, which we are going to come to that. So after creating this folder and maybe creating a text file inside, and then you initialize Git already. So now there's what we call staging and committing. Actually, committing is the process in which the code is added to the local repository. Before committing the code, it has to be in the staging area. Right? The staging area is going to keep track of all the files which are able to be committed. Any file which is not added to the staging area will not be committed. They give, this is what it simply means. In your folder, right? You have particular areas that these guys create on your folder, but it's actually your eyes. Yeah. So in these areas have what is called the staging area and the non-staging area. Actually, it's not everything in your folder you want to send to somebody, right? That's why we call those parts the non-staging area. And things that are on the staging area are things that you want to send to somebody, you want to share with somebody. That's what we call the staging area in layman terms. So when you create a file, when you create a file by default it's automatically in the non-staging area. So you are the one who needs to stage it. It means you allow you to push it to the staging area. And for you to push this thing to the staging area, there's what we that's what for you to stage this to the area, you need to first of all add it there. That's when we use the command git add. Git add the name of the file you're adding. Yes. So when you say git add the name of the file, we create a file in our called demo.txt. So we say git add demo.txt. It's going to add this file now to the staging area. But for you to actually now, but in case you want to add multiple files, you can use the different names of the files. You say git add file 1, file 2, file 3. So it depends on which name on the file. But if you want to add everything on that folder to the staging area, right? You need to just use the git.add dot means the parent directory means you're adding everything in that directory, that parent directory. So you add everything, folders, files, everything to the staging area of that thing. Actually, you are still going to be seeing this file. You don't know that when you say add all, the folders are going to disappear. They're going to remain. You are seeing them. But now, they are in the staging area. This takes us to committing, right? Yes. Committing now means what? Okay, I've created a file, I've created a folder, I've initialized it into it, I've added the content into it, then now I've added it to the staging area. But I cannot just send this to somebody without telling that person that, hey, this folder like this, I've put this and that, or this folder like this is what is up in this folder, this is what is happening, right? That's why we come to committing. Committing now is what? You're working with somebody, or even if you're not working with somebody, they are own good. You may be working on a project and the project is like 3 months old. 3 months, you are coming back to it. You need to go through this committee. You need to go through this commit. Commit is like kind of commands that you add to files. You tell them that no, yeah, I added a color to this. This folder has 3 pictures, this and that. Those are kind of messages that you add. We call them in version control system commit. So this commit comes with a message attached to it. This message now is for us human beings. You need to write messages that are readable, messages that you can read and understand what happens at that particular time. That is basically summarize what you are up to, what is happening at that particular time. So that's what we call committing. After committing, we have what we call git status and git log, right? This you watch a lot of tutorials. There's a way they teach these things. It may come in any order, but what is mostly understand is that you need to understand the flow. These commands are structured in such a way that they are used in a particular flow. You cannot use some commands before some commands. There's no way you are going to be committing something without you adding it to the staging area, right? Yeah, and something must be in the staging area before you. Something must be in the staging area before you commit, right? So there's the next thing we say G status and G log. There's what we call G status and G log. On G status and G log now is what? G status and G log now is what? It actually tells you status is normally an English term, right? It tells you what is happening to the folder I created, what is happening to my repository, right? When you type G status of that folder, it tells you what is currently happening. You may be working on a local repository and you leave there 30 minutes, you are back, you don't know whether you are committed or you are to the staging area or this and that. So you need to go to G status. It tells you what happens, what are the things you have done before you left here. So those are actually check the status of your folder. Are there some files still to be committed? Are there some files still need to be this and that? Then we also what we call Git log, right? Git log now is more of an advanced version of Git status, right? Git log now it can log you all the history of information of the files. You take a project that you work on it 3 months ago, and now on that project you need to do Git log. Like what has been happening. Maybe you are working with many other people, which very soon other people are going to come into the picture, and you need to do Git log. On this Git log, it's going to be logging you all the information on the things that have been happening. Developers already know what log is, what logging is, and all these things. Even when you are running a software on a server and you're having some kind of errors, you can log itself. You can log information on how the scripts are run, and you can see where the issue is coming from for you to be easily debugged. It's basically the same thing. When you log your folder, when you log your repository, you get information about that repository, what has been happening. Even for the last 1 year, you can get everything. So moving from there, we go to moving from there now, we go to what we call branches. Actually, I'm not going to do any practical example on branches, but I'm going to talk about branches, right? Up to now, we have not created any branch in Git by default. Git, actually, when you create a folder, right, there's a master branch that is created. When you create any folder and you initialize Git on it, there's a master branch that is created. That one comes by default. Is normal, is the name of the normal branch. But also, what is a branch? Actually, a branch is nothing but a pointer to the latest commit in the Git repository. So currently, our master branch is the pointer to the second commit. Actually, what this means is that once you create a local repository, it comes with a branch, right? Which is called master branch, right? And there'll be a scenario where you want to do different things, and you don't want this thing to be mixed, right? You want to keep these things, you want to keep track of these things on different areas, right? That's why branching comes in. Now you need to create different branches. Yes, I have my Douala branch, I have my Aboya branch, I have Bamenda branch. Yeah, that's basically what it means. That's what we call that's in layman terms we can say that's kind of like decentralization. That's kind of decentralization, right? Like we have governors who control the region, we have this, right? That's decentralization. That's basically what it means in JIT, this branching. So you create multiple branch, you need to support multiple para development. There are some kind of things that you don't want to be on this branch, you want it to only be in this branch. That's why you create branch and you have to point directly to the branch based on your scenario. So basically we have the master branch. Getting a lot of
Yan ko matiga banjere. Aka banjere ngara.
please can you mute your mic? So if you see here, here is a simple illustration of branch, right? When you create, when you create some kind of, when you create a repo, a local repo, as I said earlier, it comes with a normal branch, which is called a master branch, and every repo has that branch, right? So now when you create a new branch, it's called a test branch, right? So you can commit, it means you can commit what? Each, that you can have some certain things on the, you can have the same information on the staging area of your folder, but you want to commit them to different branch, right? So that's where you create a new branch and you send them to that, you send them to different branches. Yeah, I think tomorrow Prince is going to do a practical example on the on how to create branches and on how to send your information to different branches. So the last thing we need to talk about is the remote Git repository, right? Until now, we have been working on in the local repository. Each developer will work in their local repository, but eventually they'll push the code into a remote repository. Once it's in the remote repository, other developers can see and modify that code. What I was trying to say is that what we created a local repository in our computer and we initialized Git in it, right? This repository is having Git that is on your computer. There's no way any person is going to have access to it. That's why we have remote repositories, and we have a lot of remote repository hubs. We have a lot of remote repository hubs. We have, for example, GitHub, we have GitLab, and there are so many others. But these two are the most popular ones. So that's when it comes into remote repository. So what remote repository actually do is what we have we have a remote repository, and we have different developers, right? Maybe three developers working on one project, right? And you create a remote repository. Where is this remote repository currently found? So this remote repository, maybe we can say it's found on the cloud, and you have different local folders on your computers as a developers, and you are pushing to these repositories. And the only way for another developer to see what you have done and on his own local repository is for him to pull, is for him to see, to be able to see into that remote repository what you have pushed there. Yeah. So we have the most popular remote repository service we have is GitHub, which is very popular and it has a lot of features. Even though we also have GitLab, which is very popular too, but I don't think it's popular like GitHub. So what you have to do is this: for those of you who don't know anything about version control systems, GitHub, GitLab, and all, you have to go create your account. You go to github.com, you create an account. After you create an account, you just go through the user interface, see a lot of things, and you'll be really amazed on how this feature is. It's very easy to use. It has a lot of it has a lot of tools that makes it. In fact, they will even have GitHub desktop. We even have GitHub desktop, which is basically a graphical user interface. Not everybody will ever love online user interface, so we know that people don't like it. Yeah, so that's why there's always solution for them. Actually, if you don't want to, yes. So the next, when we have talked of this, so I think now there's one thing we need to talk again is that once you've created this account on a remote repository, you have your local machine, you need to set it up, and after setting it up, you need to push your code to the remote repository, and pushing is just like removing what is in your local repository and sending it to the remote repository. Actually, you are duplicating it in such a way that any changes you made, you can also push that changes to the remote repository so that other people you are using or other people you are collaborating with can have access to that. Other people you are collaborating with can have access to the repository. So I think the next lesson for tomorrow, we are going to show you guys on how to do a lot of these things. But right now we are going to go to the practicals. Yes, I'm going to show you guys on how to do a lot of what I've been talking about: staging, committing, pushing, all of these things. I'm going to show you right now. So before we go there, we also have additional commands which you see a lot of times, like git pull. Git pull is actually like pulling changes from the remote repository, right? Yeah, you may change your computer. You may change your computer and you get a new computer. When you come, you need to pull all the changes that you had on the other computer. You need to pull to the new computer before you continue. There's also what we call git clone. Git is like cloning, like duplicate, right? You can duplicate a repository online into your local computer, and that's it. From there now you can start working. Maybe there's a project you have been added to and the project is already on a remote repository. All you have to do is you clone the project, it's on your local computer, and any changes you make, you first of all stage the changes by adding it to the staging area. After you commit the changes, after committing the changes, you push the changes depending on the branch in which you are working from. And I told you every repository comes with a branch which is called a master branch, and you can create your own branch, push changes to the branch depending on what you want to appear on that branch. And you can also merge a branch. It means you can combine two branches if at the end you find it very insignificant to have many branches on your project. So I think that's all for the slides. Now you know the basics of how to use Git. So let's go ahead and explore more. I think that's the
Uh,
most important piece.
all right.
Yeah,
Hello,
if you
Yaya.
have any question,
Hello, Yaya.
yeah.
Yeah. So before we get into the practical session, if you have some questions based on theory, we can get them now. I think we should take some questions before we go into practicals. So, guys, if you have any questions, if there's anything you've not understood so far, just feel free. You can unmute yourself and just ask it, please. Thank you. If you have no question, just type in the chat that we are all good. You can just type that all right, so we can know we are moving ahead.
Okay, I guess no, I guess all of them are good. So I think now we can go to the practical sections and we demonstrate on how to set up a local repository on your computer and on how to master this committing, staging, and all. So so I was talking about I was talking about remote repositories. Actually, actually, remote repositories, we have a lot of them. For example, this GitLab is also a remote repository, and we also have GitHub. I think GitHub. Which this thing is opening in my repository directly. Okay, yeah, we have GitLab, which is one of the remote repository, and we also have GitHub, which is another one. Which I think if you master Git, both of them are using the same commands, and all of them are the same. So all of them you can get access to them through Git commands. So how the one you'll be using will based on the company you work in or on the team you are working with. Yeah, some companies would like to use GitHub, some companies would like to use GitLab. So that's why the most essential thing is for you to learn Git. So once you learn Git, the repository is not going to really be a big deal for you. So I think we can get started now. On my screen I have my command prompt open. So I have my command prompt open. So I'm going to cd into my desktop. I'm going to cd into my desktop. On my desktop now, I'm going to create a folder. I'm going to create a folder for which is my local repository, which I'm going to just say make direct intro intro to Git demo. I think that's the name of my folder. So so that's my folder. I've created my folder. I think everybody is seeing my screen. If you're not seeing the screen, you can indicate on the yeah, that's my folder. I think I've overzoomed it. So I'm just going to cd into this folder intro into Git demo. So actually, if I list, you see this folder is actually empty, right? This folder is actually empty. There's nothing in this folder. So the first thing I need to do is what? I need to write the first command I told you guys. Let me clear this off. So I'm going to write the first command, which is git init. This git init, what it actually does is what is initialize. You see, initialize mtg repository. It means now if you look now, you see that there's one thing that's added on my command line, which is called master, which it means that once I say git, it automatically creates me a master branch on my repository. Yeah, if I say ls now, I think I'm not going to see anything. It's still empty. So let me see something. Gosh, I think this command is a command to see these things. We'll take it after. So after that, I've created an empty folder. So now what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to say I'm going to say touch maybe demo dot text dot txt. Actually, let me just do it this way. I think I'm missing this. I have my folder. Let me just open it maybe in a code editor. So that I think everybody is more. Let me open in a code editor. So this is my folder here, and my folder is empty. There's nothing in it. So what I'm going to do is that maybe I just create a file called maybe dem- demo demo.txt. This is just a text file. So this is just a text file. On the text file, I'm going to just write maybe my name. That's my name there. Kalatu Yaya. I've written my name on the text file. Actually, now I've created a local repository, I've created a content in it. So if I come back to my command line and I say git, remember we say git status, right? Git status, what does that do? It shows us what is happening. So it tells us that on branch master, we have no commit yet. It means we have not committed anything. And what happened on track files, we have git demo.txt, the file we just created. We have not yet tracked it. It means if what happens is that when you create the file in a repository, if you don't add these files to the staging area, Git is not going to track them down. So for us to add this file, we are going to say git add demo.txt, right? So now this file has been added. If we go back and write again git status, we are going to see We're going to see now this file has been added. This is it. It's a new file, demo.txt, right? So these files now have been added. So what happens is that now these files are tracked. But for us to actually be able to share this file with any other person, we need to commit this file. I discussed about committing. Committing is actually like giving a message to that no this. So I'm going to say git commit, right? Dash m. M stands for the message that I'm writing. Demo text demo text file added with my name, right? So that's my message. That's my message. Any person that I share this file with him and he goes through my message, he's going to see that I added a demo file, I added a demo text file with my name on it. So I'm going to commit, right? So now he has created he has this thing. So now if I do git status, I'm going to see there's nothing to commit, working tree clean. It means that I've committed everything. Now these things are on the staging area. It means Git can track them. You can share them with somebody using the Git remote repository. And then now we have, if I say Git log, right? Git log, I talk of Git log. Yes, this is what Git does. You see, it tells me when I committed this. This is the commit hash code, right? And this is also the author, the person who committed this, and the date. So Git if I had a lot of commits, even for like 3 months, I'm committing. If I run Git it's going to show me every information. So you see how beautiful this is, and it tells me that it gives me actually the demo, the commit messages, right? Each commit has its own commit messages. So if I'm going through, maybe am working on the project and after I had to do something and everything is fucked up, so I need to just come to my Glog and go to the commit, right? And go to the commit that everything was working perfectly, so that when I'm reverting back to that version, where everything was working, because I have access to all the commit versions. So actually, that's what git commit actually does. I think we talk again of another command, which command is that? Um, Let me check. I think we talk of another command again. Um, okay, we talk of now the next thing. The last thing we need to do here is this. We have created this file, right? We have created this file. Now I want to share this file with other developers. So the first thing you need to do is this. Now you need to go to your computer. Actually, there's a part I'm skipping, which is very important, right? There's this part Git global config, right? Git global config. Actually, what this Git global config does is that what it configures your there's this Git global config command. It configures your local Git with your remote repository, right? So that each time you are pushing your code, right? Each time you are pushing your code, Git actually knows that no, this code is coming from Yaya, and Yaya is intending to push this code to his remote repository on Git, right? There's that syncing between the two. That's why you need to do your Git global config. Yeah, I'm going to give a link on how to configure this. Once you have your Git installed on your machine and then you have your account on GitHub. So right now I already have my own install. I think if I click on Git global config, there's this thing called Git help. I used to use it a lot of time. Actually, I don't really cram all these commands. If you look here, you're going to see if you type Git help on your listing, you're going to see. So you see here we have all the commands we have been using: clone, init, add, right? There's also a lot of commands. As you'll be working with Git, you're going to have we have mesh, restore, reset, switch. So let's clear this off. We don't really need this for now. So what we are supposed to do now is this. You have to come to your computer. You have to come to your this is my remote repository. I'm using GitHub, right? When you come to GitHub, you need to create a new repository. So I'm going to create a new repository, and then I'm going to call this repository intro demo workshop. demo workshop. I'm going to make this repository public because you guys are going to, those who are learning, you can try to clone my repository. If you can try to clone my repository and then you see how you can add your name to the list and then you push back. At least that shows that you already master the basics of Git and GitHub. So intro workshop, that's the description, intro Git workshop. Okay, I'm going to make it this thing. And there's also this file which we call the README file. Actually, the README file is kind of documentation for your project. It documents everything that's happening on your project, right? Document everything that is working for your project. So we can add a README file here, and then we can create. We click on create repository. So once we create this repository, the repository is empty, but on our computer it's not empty, right? So on our computer it's not empty. So so what we are supposed to do is this. Now we have this repository, and if we come to we come to this file, you see a folder here called clone SSH and GitHub CLI. So now you have to do, we can copy this HTTPS, which is much of the time used. Then now this is where we can use this command, git remote at origin, right? Git remote at origin. Then you paste that URL. Then now what you are doing is that what are you doing when you say git remote at origin? What you are simply doing is that you are taking the repository that you created online, the remote repository, you are linking it to your local repository, which means that each time you make changes, you are pushing to that repository online. So we say git remote, which stands for remote repository, right? Git remote at, right? Then you paste the URL, right? You paste it like that, and that's it. So I think now like this, you have added the. Oh, sorry, I made a mistake on that link. I think that's why you have a. So you need to put. I think I just need to clear this. What is actually to be is the remote at origin, right? Origin now is where you paste the URL, which tells you that the origin is that URL, and then you add it. So now you see we have added it. So now if we say G status, right? Yeah, I think now we have added it. So what we're going to do now is that everything is good. So now we have linked our local repository to our remote repository. What we have to do now is this: we need to push. If you come here to tell you that everything is fine, if you come to my remote repository, where is it? Is it here? You see my remote repository is empty. We have just the README file here, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to push the text file I added on my local repository to this remote repository. So what I'm going to do is that I'll just come to my command line and I'm going to say git push. If I just say git push, it's going to push one which is called a master branch. But some of the cases you need to add the origin, right? Origin master, sometimes like that. You have to. But you see, we are having issues here that they say that master does not appear to be a Git repository. We cannot read from the remote repository. Let me just try. I think I have issues somewhere. Let me just try git push.
So
Oh,
I think should we git push origin master?
yeah, yes. We need to set the origin. It should be git push set. I think you see, these guys are very harmful. They give you suggestions of commands, right? When you mistake on these commands, they suggest it for you. So now you see, I've just copied the command they suggested for me to use. So you see how intelligent this the stuff is. So now I'm actually pushing, right? I'm actually pushing. If you see it is done, it means I've pushed everything from my local repository to my remote repository. Now if I go to my remote repository, you're going to see the folder is not going to be empty. So I need to just refresh this. I need to just refresh this. So you see, I need to. Oh, I think I'm
Yeah, this is the
having.
main branch.
Oh, I went and created a branch. Sorry, I went and created a branch. It's like Eric is like it's like it's not the main branch on GitHub is not master. It's main branch, right? I'm
Yeah,
now I'm
GitHub
just from
is
creating master branch. That's why I'm
yeah.
having issues.
Yeah, Git
Okay.
actually implemented some
Yes,
kind of
that's why.
updates.
So guys, that's where the issue is coming from. So actually, I went and created a new branch. That's why we see, if you look here, if I click on branch, which is just kind of a branch of a tree. I told you guys the user interface is very easy to use. You just have to go through and you'll be acquainted right away. So you see, if you click here, you are going to say we have two branch. We have main, which is called default by. It means this one comes when once you create a repository, it gives you this main branch. And then I went and created a new branch, which is called master. And if you see, I push what was on my local repository to the master branch. That's why when you come here and switch to this branch, you are going to see demo.txt. And when I open this demo.txt, you are going to see my name, which I added there. I think that's where the issue is coming from. So I think that's so now when you come, this is what happens. When you come to my repository now, you want to get access to this code base. All you have to do is come to the repository, to the remote repository, which is online, and you have to do is maybe you copy the link. You can copy the link and you come to your CMD. You come to your command line and you come to your command line, and that's where you come and use the command git clone, right? Git clone, and you paste the URL of the repository you are cloning. It means you are cloning this repository from the remote repository to your local machine, and from there now you can start working on the project. That in fact that's simply the basics of how you can get access to some kind of.
Hello, yeah, yeah. I think he's disconnected there. Hello, everyone. Yeah, yeah. Can you get me? Okay, sorry. I think Yaya is having some internet connection today, but I think he's pretty much done with his presentation. Tomorrow we are going to do more of practicals. So Yaya was just supposed to round up with this basics introduction today, and I think he's done a pretty much good job. Tomorrow, don't be worried that hey, we are just seeing him typing commands today, and don't worry, tomorrow in the practical session is going to be more of practicals, like just practicals. I think much of these commands again, Prince is going to go over them to get you guys quite acquainted with that. So I don't know if you have questions, you can ask them, you can ask your questions in the chat. You can unmute yourself. I don't think we really have much time again. Yeah, then ask your questions. Hello Franklin, welcome. Oh, what the heck is wrong with my the echo is too much. Guys, do we have questions? You can ask your questions. Okay, yeah, yeah, welcome back. You can just round up so that let's close this session for today.
Okay, I'm having a lot of issues here. There's no light, and so the computer has to plug it, but the light is back. Actually, the truth is that online presentation is not for this country. This online stuff is not for Cameroon yet. So, as so there was the last thing I was talking about was the git clone command, which a lot of times you are going to be using it. So I think that's the, for the git, yeah. And then we also have some commands like git pull. We have commands like git pull. Yeah. So actually, what git pulls does is that it pulls you the latest changes from the remote repository. Maybe you are working with you are working with a team, and there are some changes that the teams are making, and you need to pull these changes to make your own changes. Maybe what you have to do is in sync with what they with their own, right? Maybe the front end developer has implemented maybe a form, and you, the back end developer, you need to test this form using your authentication APIs, and so yeah, kind of that. You need to put these changes, and then you use it. It helps you to use it. That's just all about git pull. And then there's for you to master all these commands. There are a lot of commands to be used, and you may be using them each and every day. That's how you become acquainted to them. So there's also a cheat sheet for all the commands and how you can use them. I think we are going to share them by the end of the training tomorrow. We are going to share those cheat sheets for those who are going to be learning. I think it's going to help you a lot. And you can always reference the documentation. I think documentation has everything you need to know. Everything you need to know. Here is a good official documentation, and it's in various languages. Because I know we have a lot of people here who are francophones. It's also in French, and you can learn everything there easily. So I think that's all for the introduction into Git. For any other questions, you can ask in the chat box. Thank you very much. Have a nice weekend.
All right. Thank you very much. Yeah, yeah. Thank you so much for your presentation today. Awesome, awesome. We're not having much questions today. I don't know if it's that we don't really have questions, or but I just hope that a lot of people we have been following up with Yaya today. So if you have issues with installations, I know some people came later. Uh, just I don't know, the documentation was shared. Yeah, yeah, I don't know. I think after this we are going to send an email. If you have an issue with your installation process, you can just reach out to us through the email. Then we'll see how to help you on that, because tomorrow is going to be more of practicals. So we don't want people stuck on installations and all of that. So yeah, I think we are pretty much done with today's session. Mr. Kamba was with us. I would have loved for him to say some words before we close up today. But anyways, before that, I noticed that a lot of people join late. I don't know if 6 p.m. really works for a lot for us. I don't know if you think tomorrow's session to be pushed to 7 p.m. Just notify in the chat. Let's actually know, because I noticed a lot of people joining at 7. Seems as if 7 p.m. it's a better time.
Yeah, I think 6 p.m. a lot of people may be coming back from one or two places.
All right. Tomorrow, I don't know. Please, guys, just write in the chat. Should we go to 7 p.m. tomorrow for our session? Please just write that in the chat. Let's know how we can run tomorrow's session, because I think that's one of the most important sessions, since it's practical based.
I think nobody is saying anything. I think you can call off for a day.
Well, I think we can call for today. Tomorrow's session, we're going to send an email to notify if tomorrow's session should be earlier on at 6 or 7 p.m. But hopefully it should be 7 p.m. because a lot of people join at 7. All right.
Okay.
Thank you all so much for joining today's session, and I hope to hear from you tomorrow. Please make sure you come tomorrow with someone. Invite someone to come for tomorrow's session, and since it'll be more practical based, I think there's a lot to learn. I think there's a lot to learn. So I'm hoping to have you guys over here tomorrow, and yeah, I think that's all. Bye bye.